So without a doubt, Modern Warfare can be a difficult game, it can be very frustrating, but with the right tips you can easily step up your game and play much better in your matches. Stick around and I'll show you how to do just that. Now very quickly before we get started with the video, I just want to quickly say, if you haven't checked out any of my camo guides, I've got a playlist in the description. I'll have a card on screen, check that out. A lot of people found it useful, and if you guys do find this video useful, a like would be really appreciated, and you're welcome to subscribe with your post notifications turned on so you don't miss any of my upcoming Modern Warfare videos. With that out of the way, let's get right into it. So the first important tip I've got for you guys is just to know that you can reload cancel if there is an enemy close by to you. What I mean by this is that let's say you've decided to reload and actually then you've thought, oh damn, this is a terrible decision. You think there's an enemy nearby coming towards you, or you can see one, even worse. It's handy to know that you can cancel that reload and that can give you another fighting chance to stay alive. So there's two ways to do this. The first way is that you can actually sprint. So while you're reloading, if you just begin to sprint, it will cancel that reload process and you'll keep whatever bullets you had in your gun. Alternatively, you can also double tap the swap weapon button, which will either be Y if you're on Xbox or triangle if you're on PlayStation. So I think it's just a really important tip so that if you ever stupidly reload and then find you need to cancel that, you can easily do so, and it gives you another chance to live. My second important tip for you guys to play better in Modern Warfare is to make sure you're pre-aiming around corners. Unfortunately in this game, everything's a bit more slow paced. You get a lot of enemies expecting people. They can either hear your footsteps or they might know you're there, and often you'll have people expecting you there as well. So a good thing to do is that if you're going around a corner and you think there might be an enemy, or even if you don't know, if you aim down sight and then go around the corner, it's much better than if you just sprint around the corner and then find, oh damn, I need to reload. Because at that point it might be too late. So doing this is just a little tip. It can be annoying, yes I know it can slow down your pace, but it is very good at keeping you alive longer. So moving on, another really important tip is that you need to make sure that you're checking your surroundings. So that'll be your mini map. You know, you need to see if you can see enemies on the mini map or any friendlies. Just have a look at what's going on. That will give you a good impression of what's happening in your surroundings. You also want to be looking at your compass. Now, a lot of people ignore the compass and it is a bit confusing. You know, it's a bit annoying. They will be changing this soon. Not exactly sure how it will change, but obviously if it does change, just be aware of this. But as of now, the compass will show you where enemies are and it will show you if they're firing. So this is also important. And then also just have a look at where your friendlies are. You can see the blue dot around the map, and then obviously as well just listen for any call outs, footsteps, that kind of thing. So just make sure you're checking your surroundings, listen to where people are, look at where people are, and that will give you a lot of the background to help you know where to go and where to avoid. So I think recon's sort of half the process, because if you know where the enemies are, you can obviously adapt to that situation, depending on where they are and what they're doing. So it's just a good idea to keep that in mind all the time. So I'm glad you guys have stuck around to this far in the video, because this is a really important tip, which is that if necessary, you guys can use a bunch of different moves to get you out of trouble. So what I mean by this is the three main things I'm talking about are jump shotting, drop shotting, and sliding. Jump shotting can be particularly good, especially if you're going around a corner, because enemies sort of won't expect you, and because you won't be in their line of sight, it makes it more difficult for them to react to you. So what this is literally where you sort of, for example, jump around a corner while you're shooting at an enemy, or you'll jump towards them from above, something like that, where you'll sort of jump at them and they won't be expecting it. While you're shooting as well, if you're aiming at them, it just makes things easier for you and more difficult for the enemy. You can also drop shot as well. To do this, if you hold down the trigger to start firing the weapon and then also you hold the crouch button, you will go prone while shooting. This is quite effective as well. Rarely are enemies going to suspect that you'll drop down onto the floor, and also the fact that you've actually moved out of their line of sight, a lot of them can't adjust quickly enough and you'll kill them by the time you get to the floor because they just haven't expected it. So this is a good way to get out of trouble if you need it and sort of get those fight to the death kills, as it were. Now lastly, I also mentioned sliding as well. So this is important for a number of reasons. So for example, if you think that an enemy's watching you, or you can see they are, you might need to get to cover, and so the quicker way to get to cover is to slide round the corner. So for example, let's say a sniper's watching you from a window, you need to get to a bit of cover, and to get behind that wall, you're sprinting there, but often I feel when I get to cover that I can just feel someone watching me. I feel uncomfortable. So sometimes I'll slide there, sometimes more often than not, you'll notice that they'll actually start firing or they'll shoot because they expected you to be at a certain place, but you sort of slid away and gotten behind cover before they can react to that. So that's a very good way to keep you alive. This is the same for things like kill confirmed tags as well, but this can also be useful in other situations as well. For example, getting onto flags quickly, that kind of thing. So my final big tip as well is to expect campers. I think at this point it's pretty well established that a lot of people are going to be camping, holding down areas and sort of not moving very much. So there's a bunch of things you can do to actually counteract their camping behavior. The first thing is to use a snapshot grenade. This will be your tactical, and if you select the snapshot grenade, this is good because if you suspect someone's, hiding somewhere or behind cover, something like that, if you whack this bad boy over towards them, it will show up any enemies in red in that vicinity, and you can easily see where they are, what position they're in, and where they're looking. It gives you some recon that they don't know where you are, but you know where they are. So again, it's very good. If you can see someone that's sitting in a corner, you know how to expect the gunfight to go down. So it just helps you. But alternatively, again, also UAV is really good. If you can see where people are on the map with UAV, then again, it's in your favor. I'd say also, if you're finding a lot of campers or people that just want to be annoying and put down annoying equipment, say, then there's two really useful perks you can use. So in the perk 1 category, there's a perk called EOD, and this just reduces the damage of certain lethal equipment, and it also allows you to hack certain things like claymores, which can be useful in itself. But there's also a perk in perk 3 called Spotter, and what that does is it allows you to see enemy equipment, that's lethals, field upgrades, and kill streaks. It allows you to see that all through walls. So if you see that there's a little red claymore by a door, you think, okay, I won't go through there, I can go around the other way, or I can just blow it up instead of walking into it and raging like I have done so many times. Now I've got one final thing to say to you guys, and that's, if you've got any other tips, just leave them down below in the comment section. What do you do to help yourself stay alive longer? Like I say, let me know, and if you found this useful, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe with your post notifications turned on so you don't miss any of my upcoming Modern Warfare videos. But thank you so much for watching, hope you enjoyed and found it useful, and I'll see you all on the next video.